Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. My name is Cindy D. Whitmer, and I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, helping you turn your midlife into your best life, one step at a time. Through powerful conversations, my own midlife roller coaster story, and over 3 decades of helping people transform their lives through counseling and coaching, I am on a mission to help you create your own definition of success and happiness. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here at the Life Makeovers podcast. I am very happy to have my guest with me here today, Denise Ann Galloni. And she is someone who I was blessed to connect with on LinkedIn. And then we've become colleagues. And she has a show of her own. And she allowed me to be a guest on her show, which was so exciting. And I knew I wanted to have her on the podcast. She's a keynote speaker. She's an author of this book called Find Your Voice, the 5 Keys to Lead and Empower Others. Those of you who are watching on YouTube can see the cover. And so I'm very excited to have you here today and talk about finding our voice, which we all need to find in midlife and beyond. So thank you so much, Denise, for being here. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about you?
Thank you, Cindy. It's such an honor to be here. After having you on my show and reading your book, I'm really excited to be here with your audience today.
Thank you.
So you mentioned my book. My book came out 2 years ago, Find Your Voice, the 5 Keys to Lead and Empower Others.
Yes.
And this came about after years and years of being in a corporate trainer in companies. And also I started my own business in 2014. So I'm actually celebrating my 10th year. Actually, June 1st, Saturday. I just realized that Saturday, my 10th year of business.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was going to these corporations, these companies, I would notice the same type of trends. And that's what caused me to write this book, Find Your Voice. And voice is an acronym. Now, when I talk about the book, it's not just for corporate people, because we all need to find our voice and empower ourselves.
For sure.
We all need to do that.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things I find with women in midlife the most is that they have not spoken, like they have not taken charge of themselves. And, one of the signs of being a leader in your own life is really finding your voice and speaking it. So yes. I'm excited. Should we walk through the acronym?
We can, yes. What's really funny is, and you mentioned I'm a keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And really, my thing that I speak about is finding your voice. Everything's tied to empowerment. Even my show is empowering you.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I talk about most, and I show pictures when I'm doing my keynote speaking, is when I was in school in my senior year, I was voted the quietest girl because I never said a word. Never said a word. Never said.
And they even put it in the yearbook. I remember that picture.
Yes, because people don't believe it. People don't believe it.
Yeah, Denise never had much to say.
I never had much to say.
That sentence in the yearbook by your picture. Oh my gosh, how did you feel about that?
It was true.
Oh my.
I mean, they meant to be like, oh, I was real quiet. And there's a couple of reasons. Number one, it was a very affluent community, and we weren't. There was that. I just didn't feel good about myself. I didn't have any self-confidence. So I just kept my mouth closed. I just figured, like a lot of women do, I'm going to say something, and people are going to say, oh, that's wrong, or you know what you're talking about, or make you feel silly. So I just kept my mouth shut. So for me to go on stages in front of people and say, hey, you can do this because I did it. That's kind of like what I talk to all my audiences about. Anyway, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Oh, that is brilliant. It's like a full circle moment, when you can stand in front of a crowd and say, hey, I found my voice. Look at where I started from. And that I also find so inspiring, which I know is I, and I won't skip to the letter I, but
it is. We'll come back to that.
Your life. Yeah, I'm jumping, but that is one of the things that's really inspiring about your story is that you were this quiet girl in high school who kept her head down, didn't say anything. And now like you're this speaker who can talk to 20,000 people.
And never shuts up.
Yeah. Yeah, I just hope I get a word in today. No, I'm just kidding. Right. We're doing great. So
I tell people I get paid to talk, so I can't help it. But I actually went to I think it was my 15th year high school reunion, and people didn't even remember me. The
Oh,
guy
I
had the
bet.
badge on with my picture, and people didn't remember. And we literally had 90 people in our class. It wasn't a huge, massive class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for those of you
Mhm.
watching on YouTube, there
Right.
she is years
And
later, high
that was
school
about 20
reunion.
years after that. You should back up at that. Yeah. Should back up at that. And it wasn't a dressy affair, but I said to my husband, I don't care. I'm just going. I had a nice dress on. I had my real high shoes on, and
It
I
was
didn't care.
hot. Mhm.
Thank you. And I walked in there, and people were like, "What are you doing now?" I said, "Well, I have a talk show, and I'm a professional speaker." And they looked at me and they thought, "What the heck happened?" I said, "Well, I found my voice."
That's awesome. Well, and it really reminds us that we can change anything about ourselves if we want to.
Anything.
Anything, because you did a total
Oh,
change. Went from quiet to like a woman not afraid to speak and that speaks for a living. I mean, wow,
right, right. Hmm. Yeah.
incredible. So let's talk about the letter V, which is vision of your
Vision.
voice. Yeah, get your pens ready, everybody. V is for vision. The word voice, we're breaking it down now to her 5-step keys, her 5 keys to leading ourselves and others. So
Yes.
vision.
So, so again, this book, a lot of times I speak to corporations with my book. I'm going to tailor it more to just yourself, empowering yourself.
Hmm.
So anyone that's listening, whether you're in a corporation, whether you're self-employed, whether you
Hmm.
just you don't work, maybe you take care of the family and the kids, and that's work in itself. I'm not saying it's not, but maybe
Yeah,
you don't have a 9 to 5 per se job. So this is for anyone.
might
So
not
the
be paid for what they're doing.
absolutely, absolutely, or volunteer. V is for vision. We always need to have a vision of where we want to be.
Yes.
And I give the analogy is if I was going on vacation, I wouldn't pack my bag, jump in the car that morning and say, okay, where should I go? Maybe I'll go to Disney and then just start driving. I mean, that would be crazy. No one does that. No one would ever do that. There may
No,
be some people that are free spirit that just want to see where the wind blows them, but I'm not one of those people.
no,
We want to have a plan. We want a vision. Okay, I want to go to Disney. That's my
yes.
vision. All right. So I'll save, I'll get everything ready, I'll do some research. So you
Hmm.
want to have that vision of where you want to go or what you want to do.
Hmm.
Same as if your vision is more personal, maybe I have a high school reunion coming up since we talked about that.
Hmm.
And I want to lose these 40 pounds by September.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait till August and say, okay, it's 3 weeks away. I need to lose 40 pounds. That's my vision. I'm going to spend maybe 6 months, maybe a year if it's coming up
Hmm.
next year to plan that and say, this is where I want to be. This is my vision. How do I get there? Let's develop that roadmap.
Yes, I talk about it as clarifying, getting crystal clear about what you
Right.
want because you can't go get it if you don't know what it is. And so
Hmm.
having that clear vision, a very specific as you can get it, kind of vision is one of the best ways to lead yourself through your life because then when you know what the destination is, you can start to take inspired action to get to
Yes.
it or create it or whatever.
And be
Yeah.
specific. I
Yes.
can't just say, I want to have a lot of money this year. Well, what's a
Yeah.
lot of money?
Right. A lot of
To some of that's homeless, a lot of money could be $100 where they could go to a room and get a shower.
right.
So have a specific, I want to make $100,000 this year. That's
Mhm.
my vision. So be very specific about that. So V is for vision.
Yeah, and one thing I hear from women all the time is I just want to be happy. That's great, but who doesn't want to be happy? We need more specifics to be
Right,
able to really get there and know you're there.
right.
So wonderful. Okay, so what about O? That's overcoming obstacles, right?
Overcoming obstacles because
Yeah,
I'm here to tell you it's not an easy journey.
right. Because here the obstacles will start showing up the minute you create your vision and start heading toward it, right? I mean, not to
Right.
be negative, but that's kind of life, right?
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah,
So
true.
if we're going on that vacation, we're going to hit construction on the road. We're going to hit maybe road closures. Maybe we're going to have some car issues going down there. Maybe the someone's going to get sick. Anything could happen. So there's always going to be obstacles. What I like to say is plan for them. I plan for A, B, and C. All the time. No matter what I do, okay, like what can happen? A, B, and C. And then sometimes I'll plan for D, E, and F too, just in case the worst case scenario. Because I'm here to tell you, and I've lived this my whole life. If I imagine the worst case scenario, like the absolute worst thing could happen,
Mhm.
whatever comes along, it's not gonna be that bad.
That's a great point. And that might be a great question to ask anyone who's having fears or anxieties about something, right?
Mhm.
They have this vision, but then they think, oh, I don't know if I can do it, or I don't know, whatever. And then just dialing them down and saying, well, what's the worst that could happen if you go for this vision? Like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? And
Right.
that might really put a different perspective on it.
It does. It does. Because anything that comes up, and there will be things that come up. There will be
Yeah.
obstacles. It's not as bad as that worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And you know in your mind that if that worst case scenario happens, you'll survive.
Right. Because
So that way,
we've
all
already
those you have
survived
to.
all the whatevers that have come our way already. That's one of
Right.
the beauties of aging, I think, is that you see, oh, I've gotten through all of this stuff. I
Right.
can get through anything.
Right. Absolutely. So you know you can get through that worst case scenario. It won't be easy, but you can get through that. You can get through any of those obstacles along the way.
Nice. Now, I have one question about trying to, and when I read your book, I thought, oh, I need to ask her about this.
Okay.
Like, if you're constantly, or maybe constantly is not the right word, but if you're trying to plan for everything that could go wrong,
Hmm.
doesn't that put you in a little bit of a negative
It does.
space or an energy, or maybe add to the anxiety or fears? I mean, could you possibly stop yourself by going through all the what ifs? I don't
You
know.
could. So when I say plan for anything, I don't mean every little detail. I mean
Okay.
if I'm going to speak in front of a huge crowd, what will I do if my car breaks down? I'll just plan for that.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, then I know I'll have a friend nearby that's on standby. Like, hey, can I borrow your car?
Hmm.
So just not plan for every little because you can't. Things will come up that you don't even thought about that would
True.
happen. So
Yeah.
plan for some of the big things that may come up. Or what happens if I wake up that day and I wake up late? My alarm didn't go off. What am I going to do? Okay, that I know that I'm going to lay all my clothes out so I don't have to stand there in front of my closet and pick things. So that's what I plan for. I don't plan for
Mhm.
like these big negative things, but just little obstacles that might
Okay.
hold us back.
It's really preparation for
Right.
things to go smoothly,
Yes.
not like be prepared if a tsunami hits or
Yeah.
something.
Right. Be prepared. I mean, if I have a lot going on, I'll have different tote bags lined up. So I know Monday I go here. So everything is ready. So I don't, if I'm running late, I just pick up my bag and go. So always be prepared.
Wonderful. Well, what if your greatest obstacle is yourself?
Yes.
What do you do about that?
It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. And I tell people it took me years to be able to speak up. I remember my first full-time job, and there was an opening in our office, and I wanted to apply for not the opening, but the person I thought would get that job, her job. And my boss
Oh,
called me in, and she said, "Well, that's odd. Like everyone's applying, wants to apply for this job." And I said, "Oh, I'm not ready for that yet. I just want this job back here." So I wasn't even confident myself. And she says, "Yeah, I think you're ready for it." I ended up getting that job. So don't hold yourself back because we are our obstacles.
yeah. I
I
always
thought
say,
I was the youngest one that I was 18, youngest one in the office, the newest person there. I thought, there's no way, like, I'll be happy with like the next step up, not two steps up.
wow. So you underestimated yourself.
Yes,
We do
we
that
do.
for
We do.
sure. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, it's mental work to overcome that obstacle of our own lack of confidence, or whatever. And we'll talk more about confidence in a minute,
Yeah.
I know. So, okay. Well, should we move on to I
Let's
inspire?
definitely
Right.
I
I.
inspire. Inspire.
Mm,
Always be inspired and always inspire others. It's so important,
mm,
especially if you're a leader and you have people that report to you. Inspire those people. Don't hold people back. The
mm.
greatest thing you can do is have the people that report to you learn more about their job, and move on to something bigger. You've inspired them to move forward and improve their lives. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. So even for yourself, always be inspired.
And how do we get inspired? Like in our just our regular old daily lives, how do you how do you think we can get inspired?
I keep it's sometimes it's hard to be inspired because if you're having a bad day, it's hard sometimes to be inspired. I just always try to push myself and know that I can do it and just keep pushing and pushing through it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I take one step forward, two steps back, as they say. But then the
Mhm.
next day I may take three steps forward and only two steps back. So eventually you get there.
Yeah, and action can be very inspiring because it can give us some momentum. It can give us that feeling, oh, I can do this, I can do this. One of the things that I've done in my life and encourage my coaching clients to do too is find people to respect, who maybe are living lives like we want to live a life, or doing things that we think, wow, that's,
Right.
maybe there's a woman out there listening today that wants to start her own foundation, but she doesn't know how to do
Sure.
it. And so she looks at some activists that she knows that have already done it, and get
Right.
mentoring from them, or just read about them. I think reading biographies are so fascinating of,
I love reading biographies. Yes.
yeah, because they're inspiring, right? Because everybody's got that story of either starting with nothing or overcoming some major life pivot and then creating something amazing out of it. And I find those all very inspiring.
Mhm. And we could always inspire others. If you see someone struggling, you could always inspire. If someone comes to you for help, they're not
Mm.
trying to take your job. They just want you to help and mentor them. You just talked about mentoring, Sydney, very important. So always try to be inspired and inspire others.
I think too, what do you think about this? I think one of the best ways for us to inspire others, because I don't walk around and go, oh, I want to inspire people today. Sometimes I do when I'm at work, but but I think one of the most inspiring things we can do as people is live authentically, like line our values up with our actions and just
Mhm.
show it. Like when we're modeling for children,
Yep.
but just show it wherever we are, that we are consistent. We're the consistent person that we actually are. And just, I mean, I didn't say that very eloquently, but
I know
I,
what you meant.
I think that's a way to inspire, don't you? Without like consciously going, okay, I'm going to go inspire some people today.
Right.
Just living it out, honestly.
Living it out. And it's very easy to walk over to someone and say, Cindy, I can't believe you got that finished. That was an awesome job. Because now I'm inspiring you. We're so quick to say, oh, you did this wrong. But
Yeah,
just say, hey, because that little thing, you might have been really stressed about that. And me coming over to you and saying, that talk you gave, oh my gosh, I got so much out of it. That's inspiring.
that
So it's
is.
the little things.
Yep, that's a great point. Well, someone said to me, a client recently said to me, you really walk your talk, don't you? And
Hmm.
I said, yeah, I strive for that. I mean,
Right.
that's important to me. And she's like, it's so inspiring. And I thought, oh, so that was nice to hear.
Right. And we never know who's watching. I know I had someone that's really a pillar in the community come up to me the one day, and I didn't know him well. I knew him briefly because he through my TV show and everything else. And he said, I've been watching you for a long time. You're really inspiring and you do a lot. And I thought, oh my gosh.
Wow, how nice.
So you never know who's watching and who you're inspiring.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, isn't it?
It's very rewarding. Yes,
Very rewarding. Okay, so should we move on to the letter C,
we
confidence?
should. Confidence. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I have struggled with
huge.
confidence my whole life. Whole life. I still do.
Mm,
I'll be very transparent and say, I still think of myself as that person that never opened her mouth to say anything.
mm.
I had one time in my career, this was probably, oh my gosh, I don't even know when it was. It was so long ago. 2008, 9 maybe. I went to a conference. I was a keynote speaker, a national conference, and I was doing the breakout sessions, completely bombed.
Oh,
Worst I ever had. People were getting up and leaving. I
oh
was
no.
unprepared. I was thrown into it at the last minute. I wasn't ready for it.
Oh,
As I was talking, I was thinking, I started getting really hot, like I'm gonna pass out. And I thought,
no.
that's okay. If I pass out, it'll be over. That's what I thought. That's what's gonna be over.
If I die, I won't have to live through this
I wouldn't
experience.
have to live for it. So I didn't die. The floor didn't open. I got through it, like finished it, and actually like left the conference. I didn't go back the next day. I stayed in my hotel, then went to the hotel. I stayed in my room, then went to the hotel, and then the airport to leave. Worst ever.
Oh,
I've done so many keynote speeches and presentations that have been wonderful, but guess which one's always in the back of my mind there?
that
That
one
one.
for
That
sure.
one.
Well, the
So I have to
brain
take a
holds.
breath and say, that happened because I wasn't prepared. I was thrown into it. The person was supposed to do it with me. She backed. So there's reasons why it happened, but,
Yes.
but that's always in the back of my mind. So confidence is something I've always struggled with.
That is quite a traumatic story. It sounds really traumatic. And our brain tends to hold on to trauma.
Mhm.
That's probably why it's easy to open that file in your head every
Right.
time, even though you've probably had hundreds of talks since then and all kinds of
Oh, hundreds and hundreds. Yeah, right. And nothing is ever bombed like that. But that's and I tell that story sometimes. People say, "Oh, you're so posh." I'm like, "Well, let me tell you this story because and we all have it. We all have something, that one thing that shook our confidence so bad we just can't get rid of it."
For sure. And sometimes it's rejection from another person. Sometimes it's not getting picked for the team. Sometimes it's, who knows what all it is. But
Right.
our confidence can get really rattled quickly, or just be really hard to find. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's one of the things that women in midlife want the most that they can't figure out how to get is confidence. So, what
Hmm.
do you find is confidence building for people? Like, what helps build their confidence?
So what I did, especially with this, I owned it. I'm like, "Yep, it happened. I can't do
Yes,
anything about it. It happened." Yeah.
yes,
Could I have done things to prevent it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't
maybe.
know. It
But
happened. It's over. Again,
Mhm.
I didn't die. I didn't even pass out like I thought I was going to there. I got
Right.
through it. So nothing else I could ever do could be as bad as that, in my opinion. So that
Mm,
built up my confidence a little bit. But again, still every once in a while I just have to stop and think and breathe like, okay, nothing will be that bad. And then
mhm.
building up my confidence just by being more confident in myself and knowing that I can do this. I can do this. That was so many years ago. I am so far ahead of where I was then in my
Uh-huh.
career and just being a person.
Yes.
Yeah, I can laugh about that now and say, "Yep, I just wanted to pass out and get it over with." So
Hmm.
just,
Hmm.
I think it's all from your inside, your confidence. People can tell you things, but you have to believe it yourself. When I thought about writing a book, the first thing I kept saying to people was, "I don't know, why would I write a book? Like, what do I have to say to anybody?
Oh, there's that quiet little girl again coming
What,
out, right?
what, who cares what I have to say? Like, who's even
Here's
going
what
to
I
read?
have
Like,
to say. Right.
who
Hmm.
cares what I have to say?" And like, what have I done? Like, who am I? Who am I to say, like, write a book about doing this? Or who am I to go out there in front of a group of people and talk about this? There's other people that know so much more than me.
Mm.
There's always gonna be people that know more than me. One
Well,
of my
it's
favorite
and
sayings, if you're the smartest person in the room, find a new room.
yeah, that's a great quote. Yes, if
It
you're the
really is.
smartest
Because
person
there's
in the
always
room,
people that's gonna know more than me. And
yeah,
there's always gonna be someone's gonna ask me some off the wall question that I have no idea the answer. So I
yes,
just have to have confidence and say, you know what, I don't have that answer for you now, Cindy, but I will get that to you and I'll email you and the whole group and give you that answer. And that's
yes.
all you can do. It just build the confidence, but it's not easy. It takes work.
Yeah, and I think, we can a starting point is just to notice the little successes we have in life, right?
Right.
Or having people notice like how they've already contributed in
Hmm.
some way, whether it's, gosh, I raised these kids with my whole heart, or I presented that idea to the team and we went with it and it was a
Right.
successful campaign,
Right.
or I learned how to rollerblade at 40, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
or I traveled internationally for the first time in my life. I mean, all of these things are things that take courage.
Right. Right.
And when we're courageous, we are building our confidence because we're
We
saying,
sure are.
I believe in myself enough to try this.
Hmm.
And you had to have enough confidence to pick yourself back up from that keynote or that breakout
Hmm.
session,
Hmm.
and not focus on the people walking out of the room or the fact you thought you were going to faint, but rather go, I can do this. I have information. I know how to teach. I found
Right.
my voice. I can do this. And just get back up there and do it again. I bet the first time back up was a little shaky, right? I mean, I know
The
you're
first
many.
couple of times. Right. Right. Because it's still in the back of my mind. Even now, I just take a deep breath before I walk out there. Like, okay, I got this. And I still have those butterflies.
Yeah, and then you think, what's the worst that can happen? And you feel like you've already had that happen.
I've had that happen. Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Very
again,
nice.
it can be good stories to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
for
even
sure.
the worst thing can happen, you can always turn it around. I tell people that story, the whole room laughs. I'm like, see, don't worry about it.
Yes. Well, and in all honesty, the people who were there watching you or whatever, or walked out of the room, they were on to other things quickly. They probably didn't, lie awake at night and go, "Wow, who was that?" And what was her problem? Or they
Oh
probably just
yeah.
went on about their day. We
Hmm.
think they're probably thinking about us all day, and how bad that was, or whatever. But it's really, people really aren't thinking about us as much as we think they're thinking about us.
That is true. That is true.
So I think the more confident we get too, the less we obsess about what other people think about us too, don't you?
I think that comes with age and maturity too. So I know
Yeah.
now, I'm like, I don't care what someone thinks about me. I know I know what I am. I know what I do.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's a great sign of wisdom and maturity and confidence and all those things when we think less about what other people are concerning
Right.
about us or not.
I had
Yeah.
a friend that wrote in her book, and I love this. She said, "What other people think of me is none of my business."
Yes, I've heard that quote before. I love it. Yes, what
Mhm.
other people think of me is none of my business.
Because you're
That
not going to change. You're not going to change their opinion, and it's not your job to change their opinion.
No, no. We've got better things to do than worrying about
Right.
it.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean, we've got opinions too, whether we're sharing them or not. We all tend to have them,
We
right?
all have opinions. Right. Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so the E is for enthusiasm, right?
Enthusiasm. Right. You always have to have enthusiasm. No
Mm.
one wants to be around someone that's, I always call it an Eeyore.
Oh yeah, ho hum. Wasn't that what he
Oh
said?
no,
Ho hum.
look at me.
What about
What did I do? The world hates me. Everything. No one wants to be around that.
and we need to be Tiggers, right? And
Right.
bounce,
Bounce up and down.
bouncy, bouncy through the day with a
Or
big old smile.
find that happy medium somewhere.
Yeah, Ticker's a bit much for me, but yeah, I get it. I'd rather be
Right, right,
Ticker than you are, though.
right. Because no one wants to be around that person. Because what happens is misery loves company. And then so everyone around there starts to be so always be enthusiastic.
Mhm.
Enthusiastic. I always say, whenever I go to speak, people are paying money to hear me speak.
Yeah.
They don't care that I don't feel well. They don't care that I had a fight with my husband. They don't care that I had to pay $900 for my car and I don't know how I'm going to pay my. They don't care about any of that. They care about they spent their money to hear what I'm going to say. So I'm going to walk on that stage and I'm going to be like it's the best day of my life. I'm going to be enthusiastic. I'm going to answer their questions and then afterwards
Yeah. Then
I'll
go
have those other
cry
feelings.
or go try to work it out with your husband or go get the car fixed or go pay the bill or what
Sure. So I
accident.
always, even when I'm driving somewhere, I have like some songs that like get me excited. I'll play those in the car, like boost you up a little bit. And so you're always enthusiastic, even if you're in a company you work. It's so easy to get dragged down by negativity.
Oh, for
So
sure.
just be. No, I don't mean you need to be like Tigger bouncing off the wall, but just have a smile. Because sometimes people just need that little bit of smile, and they want to be around someone like that, and that will just change their whole day or brighten their day.
Yeah, and don't you think part of that is changing the way we think about work too? Because there is that whole like it's almost like we're not supposed to be excited about Monday mornings, for example, right? We're
Hmm.
supposed to go in, roll in on a Monday morning, late, tired,
Yeah.
unenthused about being at work, just wanting to stand by the water cooler all day and not get
Hmm.
anything. I mean, there's that kind of like that
Sure.
attitude or whatever. Like
It's
if you're
work. It's not play. It's work.
yeah,
Right.
right. It's work. And it's like, no, no, that work can be one of the most satisfying, joy filled, wonderful experiences. It depends on what
Mhm.
you're doing and what you want to be doing. And
Right.
so if you're unenthused in your
Mhm.
life day after day after day after day, that's kind of like a red flag, isn't it?
Sure. Sure is. And I mean, there's sometimes that people on the job a long time. They're at a certain age. They can't make a move. Just think if you feel that way, just think, okay, I'm working. Maybe I'm not happy here. Maybe I'm miserable with this job, but this is paying me money, which is allowing me to do this.
Yes.
Go on vacation. Go see my grandkids. Do these things I want to do. Save for retirement so I can retire early. So just think again that vision.
Yes.
So you're doing that. That's just a step. That's just the road to get you there.
Yeah. Exactly. So reframing your whole attitude or your perspective about what is of value to your whatever you're experiencing in your daily life,
Right.
finding the gems of it, even if you're not feeling particularly great or enthused, right?
Right. Which also isn't easy to do. That takes work and practice.
Yeah, these are all important skills, though. I mean, if people are unhappy, if you listening out there are unhappy or you're suffering in some way, these are skills. These are things you can nurture in your life, creating a vision. Start thinking about, gosh, what do I actually want? What do I want my life to look like? Or what
Right.
are some goals I have? Or what are my hopes for this business or whatever? And then, yeah, when the obstacles come, that's just life. Like
That's
we've all
life.
had,
Right?
we could list 1,000 of them right now that you've had, Denise, that I've had. We've all had them, and
It's life.
we'll run into more perhaps.
Right. Right.
And then finding inspiration, things that inspire you, and being an inspiration, and then yes, constantly building that confidence, finding courage to try new things, or recognizing, looking back over your life and recognizing, wow, I've had this success, this success, this success. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to
No.
have the biggest house in your neighborhood. You don't have to have the most degrees from university. That isn't what we're talking about. We're talking
Right.
about, where have you been content? Where have you felt like you've made a difference?
Yes.
Maybe you're the best you know uh person in your community to take care of animals. I mean, and that's so needed. And it's not a splashy, wow, gonna get you rich quick kind of thing, but it's like you might be saving animals' lives. You might be rescuing animals. You might be nurturing them in ways that no one else does. I mean, I know this woman who she crochets little hats for the little babies in the NIC
Oh.
unit. And
Hmm.
she does it quietly. There's no nothing but she just turns in all these little hats,
Yeah.
at the hospital. And I think, oh my gosh, that is just, I could cry. It's
Right.
so lovely that
Yeah.
she loves to crochet or sew, or I don't know, knit, whichever way. I know nothing about sewing,
Yeah. I don't know.
but she inspires me because she just quietly, humbly does something she loves and contributes through doing it. To me, what's more successful than that? I mean,
Right.
that's just,
And you never know who you're going to inspire, who's watching.
oh my gosh.
They may not tell you, but you may inspire them.
Yeah.
I know I had a friend, I've had a couple really rough years for some medical issues with my family.
Mhm.
And one of my friends, close friend, just said to me, "We were all like wondering, like, how did you do it? You came through this." And I thought, you didn't see, you saw part of it, but so you
Yeah.
don't know how you inspire people to do things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Through the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything, right?
Yeah.
There's always an opportunity there to inspire, to
Right. Right.
build the confidence, to, yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. For sure. Wow. So what else should we talk about? What else is important, do you think, that we share today? Is there anything that's just like burning on the tip of your tongue you want to share?
So I think what I really want to say is going back to that high school, being the
Yeah.
quietest girl. And when I do and we all get discouraged and down on ourselves, and I still struggle with confidence. It's a constant struggle, so we all do it.
Mhm.
Look back at the things that you've done, because sometimes I sit there and think, wow, I can't believe that I did this, or I can't believe that on the cover of my book, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank wrote a testimonial. And I can't believe I have, like, so it's just amazing when you look at that and you think, like, how did that happen? And sometimes if someone's reading my bio when I'm speaking, and they'll read my bio and they'll say, quietest girl, and she won the Business Choice Award in Pittsburgh for this, and she won this, and I just think, who are they talking about? Like,
Yeah.
who are they talking about? Like, her talk shows won awards. I'm like, me, my little show, like. So
Yeah.
you have to be proud of these little accomplishments, like you said, because they add up, and people are, they look at that and they say, wow, that person really has themselves together, and we're going back to inspiring.
Yeah, for
I know
sure.
when I first, my first TV show was called Inspiring Women. And and it came about because, and this is a funny story. People always ask me, "Oh, how did you get a TV show?" I
Yeah.
had my own business, and the Chamber of Commerce was doing a show about local businesses, and they said, "Can we interview you?" I said, "Sure." So they came to my house because I have a work from home business, and the mayor came, they interviewed me, and they were doing the camera and everything for the show, and I thought it was pretty cool. So
That's
I said, "Have I told you this? I don't think I've told you this story, have I?"
cool. I haven't. I mean, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. Yeah.
So the cameraman's like doing this, and we've got the microphones. And I'm like thinking, this is like really, really cool. So he's done, and I said to him, that was like really a great experience. I think I want my own talk show. And he said, "Okay, I'm in charge of the station. What do you want it to be about?" And I said,
Ow.
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
It probably took me a good 6 months because I was thinking, I can't interview people. Like I've never done that before. Like who am I going to interview? Who am I going to interview? Like, there was my comments again. And finally I came back, said, okay, I think I want to interview women, empower people. And I had that show, and it all came together. That led to a second show. And now I've got a third show that I'm working on. So it all comes together. So you never know what little step, just by me saying, I think I want to do this. And him asking me, well, what kind of show do you want? An interview show. Who do you want to interview? I don't know.
Yeah, so something that just rolled off your tongue as a desire,
Take a
cracked
leap.
open the door that just, yeah, it ended up being a big leap and turned into well, not one show, but two, now the third.
Right.
I mean, and a whole another flavor to your career that's been so wonderful for you.
Mhm. Yeah. So you never know. Take the leap. I could say people get worried. You can always people. You can ask people to say no. You say, okay, thank you. I was so worried when I got that first show to ask people to be guests.
Really?
So
Oh,
I figured, oh, you know what? They're not going to come on my little show.
oh.
They're like they're not going to come on the show. And people were always, oh yeah, definitely. And people started reaching out to me. I was like, what? What? Really?
So part of I think what you're edging into here, and we've kind of talked about already, is we've got to be ready to step into the roles that we want, or we have to be ready. We have to believe somewhere. There has to be a layer where we believe. Like you had to believe you could be a TV talk show host
Mhm.
before you could do that.
But you know
You
what, Cindy? I didn't think about it. I just made that comment. Like I didn't think, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I said, this is pretty cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. Without even thinking about it. Because when we think about it, I'm
then
gonna start throwing those obstacles in. But
yes.
I don't have any experience doing that. So like, who am I gonna? Who do I know? Like, I would have had 100 reasons why I couldn't do it.
So your clue was, which I ask people to pay attention to all the time, is what are you enjoying in life? What's fun? What comes easily? And you really enjoyed that day when they all showed up with the cameras
Sure.
in your house. And it was like, oh gosh, I'd like to do this. Boom. Well, you loved it. That's why you could do it, right?
Mhm.
So when we love what we're doing, we're having a good time doing it, that's a clue, everyone, that you are in good space there to really
Right. Right.
different.
And take a chance. Except if I'd have known this or known him and thought, I probably would have never had a show. Because if I would have had to think about it, I would have thought there again. What am I going to? Who am I to have an interview show?
Yes, talk ourselves right out of it,
We
huh?
talk ourselves
Talk
right out of it.
ourselves right out of it. Exactly.
We do.
Oh gosh, wow. Yeah. So what's next for you? What's happening now?
Okay. So talked about enjoying yourself doing something. That leads me right into my next thing. And I don't think you know this yet, because this is something that just came about recently. Last year, one of my friends, she owns a publishing house, and she decided to put together an anthology where she had, I think there was 15 of us, 12 or 15 of us women, wrote a chapter, something, it was called Unleashing Your Soul Level Magic. And we just
Ooh,
talked about something that inspired us and changed our lives. And I
ooh.
decided to do a chapter. So it was such a great experience writing this chapter because we think, oh, I can't write. Again, like who's gonna read this book that I write? I thought, well, I can write a chapter. I had such a good time that this year I am putting together my own anthology. I'm curating it. I'm looking for men and women to write a chapter in this book. I'm looking for 15. And
Wow.
the title is going to be Steps to Success, One Aha Moment at a Time. And it's going to be a life lesson that you learned that helped you professionally.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So
Oh,
that's
that's
something brand new, hot off the presses for your audience.
so exciting. Oh my goodness. So if anyone's interested in reaching out to you about that, where would they find you?
They could go right to my website, DeniseAnnGalloni.com. Nice and easy there. You can find free resources. When you first go to that website, you sign up for my free newsletter. And
Nice.
they'll also give you a download with top 10 leadership tips, just like the
Ooh.
old David Letterman. I'm dating myself now. The top 10.
So I love this top 10. Yeah.
Top 10. Dating myself, the younger audience saying, David Letterman, who?
He's this big, scary, bearded guy now, but
He is kind of scary. Yeah,
that beard is, oof, wow. Anyway, sorry. I
that's
just,
okay. So you can go there. You can get my top 10 leadership tips. You can see all my shows. They're there on my YouTube page.
oh,
That's all there. You can find out what I do. You can see this book, talk about the book in there. And you can always there's a contact me page. You can contact me with any questions.
that is fabulous. So Denise Ann Galloni, and don't worry, we'll put the website in the show notes so you don't have to try to spell it yourself or anything. But yes, please go check out all those resources. Go buy her book. Go get all of her wisdom and soak her up like a sponge. She knows what she's talking about. I admire her so much. And I'm just so grateful you were here today. Thank you
Oh,
so
I'm
much.
so honored. And I do want to say that when you purchase my book, and I will autograph it before I send it out, you also get almost $500 worth of free gifts. There's a free gift website there. So there's videos there, there's PowerPoints there. I can't remember everything. I keep adding things to it.
Well, I think you found that generosity is a success practice. Actually,
Yeah,
listen to that, everyone. 500. If you found $500 on the sidewalk, you'd think you'd hit the jackpot. And she's saying she's got $500 worth of free resources. I mean, what a gift that is! And you can pass this information on to others who might need what she's
right,
doing.
right.
And she's available for speaking and so forth too. So you can find out everything there. And again, we'll put her website in the show notes. Okay, everybody, find your voice. Find
Find
your
your voice.
voice and speak it out. Live out loud. Live fully. This is the way. I thank you so much for teaching all of us about this, Denise. It's just, and for inspiring us from being the quietest girl in the school to
The
someone.
picture's in there. The pictures don't lie.
She's got the proof right there. I've seen it.
Yes.
Oh, anyway. All
Thank you
right.
so much, Cindy. It's such an honor to be here. Again, I respect you so much after reading your book and having you on my show. I'm just so honored to be here with you and talking to your audience.
Well, I feel the same. I'm truly honored you could stop by today and join us, and just so thankful for you and enjoy knowing you and just look forward to more. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody out there. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with those that you think would also benefit from what we're doing here. And I will talk to you again soon.